Hey, everybody. Happy Monday. Thanks for being here this evening. So this is our third Ladies Empowerment call, which is about delivering excellent customer service. So if you missed the first two empowerment calls, our first one, and these are all about starting at the beginning, just starting with the basics and keeping things simple so it's not so complicated that we just don't know where to start or what to do because we've made it too hard. So our very first one was about why we do AdvoCare and what pushes us through our fear, because we know that the foundation is our belief and we know what is true about AdvoCare and the products and what it can do for ourselves and for everyone else. And that's enough to push through our fear to be able to share it with other people. And then our second call with Jodelle was about, we're all busy people. We are mothers, we're, sisters, we're wives, we're, full-time students, or, we have full-time jobs, and, all of our days are busy. So how do we manage ourselves with limited time? So Jodelle shared, what she does, and she's a mom too. And so how to manage yourself with limited time and making the most out of it by staying focused with the DMO, daily method of operation, so that your behaviors are focused and guided. And so today we've got a special guest, Carolyn Cassio, who is a Ruby leader in Cincinnati, Ohio. She's a wife to Irv. She has 3 very busy boys. She's also a part-time hairstylist. And I couldn't think of anyone better to share on this topic other than Carolyn, because she does an amazing job coaching anyone in her organization, whether it's just on a few products or a whole 24-day jumpstart. She's got a system, so I hope that you're ready to take some notes, because she's got it loaded up for you. And so write as fast as you can, because she's got some good stuff coming. So I'm going to bring her on. So just know that you as the coach, you set the expectation, right? So let that be known that when you are going to work with somebody and help them in their journey, that you're the one that sets the expectation, like, hey, I'm here to help you. And so we have to have some active communication going on. And that's what's going to be expected in this journey to make the most out of what you want to achieve. So I'm not going to take up any more time, because Carolyn's going to have the rest of this time to share with you guys. So Carolyn, go ahead. I will mute myself, and you're already unmuted, so take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Nicole. All right, ladies, just to give you a little bit of background, I not only am I a hairstylist, but I owned a salon for 19 years. And my business partner and I always said that we may not have the fanciest of equipment. We may not have the nicest, most current, up-to-date, whatever, but we will always have the best customer service. So with that being said, how can we have the best customer service with AdvoCare? So one would be to just go the extra mile. Let people know you care. Hold hands with those that need you to hold their hand. Some of them you might think, do I need to tell you this again? Or do I need to help you again? Yes, we do. But there's also those that say, I've got this, I don't need any help at all. And you must find a way to connect with them as well. And again, if they're younger, it's going to be on the phone, texting. If they're older, it's probably going to be a phone call. So just finding that way to connect with them. Always pick the phone up first. I think today we tend to just send a text message because that's quick and easy, but there is nothing like a friendly voice. Text messages show no emotion. They don't show truly how much you care. Another way that I like to show customer service is text messaging encouragement. I might send an encouragement saying, stay strong through the weekend. Or if I know that they have troubles drinking all the water they need to drink, it would be to talk about, encourage them on their water journey, or they're skipping breakfast or skipping meals or whatever it may be. Just send them a little just a little bit of encouragement to let them know, again, to show you care, to show you're there with them. So many companies and so many products, people just sell them to you and you don't hear another word from them. And that's not what Advocare is about. We're about going alongside with those people and helping them get the success that they want. One of the other things I do for customer service is I make sure to tell every one of my clients that I don't want any product in your cupboard that you're not taking. And I will take that product back and switch it out for something they do like. So now we all know that Advocare will take back product as well. But if they've got fish oil, that I'm just using this as an example, fish oil that they opened up and for any reason they don't want it or they're not going to take it, they can't swallow pills, I don't know what their excuse would be, then I'll take the fish oil, I take that, and what product will they? I want them to have that great experience and to have that product in their house that they're going to reorder over and over and over again, not them get discouraged because there's something they don't like. Another thing is I have clients that, a lot of older clients, not a lot, but I have a few older clients that I have or do business with. And they don't know how to work the computer. They don't know how to sign up to get their discount. They don't even want to. There's no talking them into it. So what I do is I sign them up. I set a password. I don't ask for their password they might be using for something else. I just use their birthday, it's like a generic password using their birthday. And that way then I know what their password is. I know what their distributor ID is. I keep that information and they simply, either I call them or they call me, phone works both ways, and saying, I reorder their product for them. I ship it straight to their doorstep. And I probably have 3 or 4 people that I do that with. And actually, one of those that I do that for about an hour ago sent me a text message referring me to a friend of hers. So, you never know where that will lead you. Okay, hang on. I think I've got my papers mixed up. Okay. So then the next part of this I want to talk about would be either the 180, a 24-day jump start, or even a 10-day cleanse, or even if somebody started MNS and Spark. So I'm going to go over basically what I would do with either a 24-day jump start or a 180. And I'm going to give you, this is where I'm going to give a lot of information. This is my system that I do with everybody. And I could do this system almost any place because I've got it down to almost a science. So the first thing I do is once their product is in, closest to the day that they want to start either the cleanse, the 24-day jump start, or the 180, I like to go over, I actually sit down with them for about 30 to 45 minutes, and I tell them that I need your time, 30 to 45 minutes, and I also need you to have all your product in front of you. And I go over all the product. That way then, somebody might look at, receiving, I don't know how many boxes, 6 or 8 boxes, and go, how am I ever going to remember what to take and when to take? So I sit down and we actually look, I go over, this is the fiber, this is the herbal cleanse. I also have them write down on top of the boxes, day 1 through 10 and day 11 through 24. That way then, because we're going over so much information, they may not remember exactly what did she tell me to do? And yes, the journal, the 180 journal is fantastic, but maybe they don't have that. Maybe they're only doing just the cleanse, or maybe they've just added whatever. So I have them write down that to make sure that they know when to take the products. Again, like I just said, Advocare has supplied us with a beautiful journal, the 180 journal. I absolutely love it. I also love, and I don't know what they were called, but the last pamphlet booklet that they were sending out with the 24-day jumpstart. That was a huge help as well. So, but what you don't want to do is just go, wow, we got this fantastic journal. They don't even need me anymore. They can just go through it themselves. No, they cannot go through it themselves. It's just too much. There's too much information that they need that they will not get by doing that. So starting through the journal, I'm just going to pull out a few of the pages that I really like to talk about. And certainly there may be other pages that I skip that you think are important that you want to talk about. So by all means, please use the journal, coach from the journal. Even if if the person doesn't have the journal, you could still coach from your journal and have them use pen and paper, which is exactly what I did prior to Avocare giving us any booklets at all. So the first thing, the first page is page 4 that I like to go on, and that talks about them measuring. And I like to share with them the importance of measuring. If you measure, the reason you would want to measure is because you lose, with this product, you lose a lot of inches. And sometimes the scale's not moving as fast as they may want it to move. But certainly these inches are falling off, and when that is happening and their clothes feel looser, then they're feeling like they got some success. Also then on page 5, taking pictures. I would like for them to take a picture. I do share with them. You can either share the picture with me, you can share the picture on Facebook, or you can also just keep the picture for yourself. You don't necessarily have to share it with anybody, but when you see the difference in your pictures from the start to the finish, you will appreciate it even more. The next page I like to talk about is page 13, and that is talking about how much water, dividing the body weight in half, and that is the ounces of water you would want to drink, or 10 to 12 8-ounce cups a day. I also talk to these people, to whoever I'm speaking with. If they do not drink any water at all, it is very important for them to measure the water out, either by water bottles, whatever their amount is that they're supposed to. Maybe they take so many water bottles and they put them in the refrigerator the night before, and that's what they need to have gone by the next evening. Or pouring, 12 8-ounce cups into a big pitcher, and by the end of the day, that needs to be gone. And maybe you all have some other ideas. That's great. But these are just a couple of the ideas that I use. Also on page 13 is the portion control with the hand. I love, love, love that. People don't necessarily have to get out a scale and measure everything, and they can just take a look at what that has given them, look at their hand, and they'll know whether they're eating too much or not. Next, turning to page 14 through 19, just talking about foods, making choices, bad choices versus good choices, or not so good choices against better choices. This is where I would ask questions. What would a day look like for you? What's breakfast look like? What's lunch look like? What's dinner look like? And I would have, and I'm going to talk about it in a minute, I'm going to bring it up here real quick. I would have a paper called the follow-up record, which Nicole is going to make this available to you with the replay. The follow-up record has room for me to take notes. So I would have that out, and I would be taking notes as they told me what they would have for breakfast, what they would do for lunch, what they would do for dinner, so that I will know how in depth do we need to go with this. I might be telling them you need to eat blah, 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 eat clean, eat this, eat that. They already do. It's just that maybe it's portion, who knows, but asking lots of questions is very helpful. Page 20 talks about meal prep. For me, I make out a grocery list either weekly or monthly. Sometimes it's monthly. Sometimes I don't get it done for a month. If I've done it monthly, I still keep that to refer back to it for a weekly grocery shopping guide. And I just share this with them. And again, talking about when they could meal prep. Could they take one day a week and get themselves organized for the rest of the week? And talking to them that if they, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So very, very important. We also, on page 26, it talks about sleep and how important sleep is. We need 7.5 hours of sleep a night. That's another thing I want to know. If they're only getting 5 hours of sleep a night, that might be something that we need to work on. You know, maybe they're doing everything else perfectly except for their sleep. And again, it's by asking those questions and finding out what they're doing and where we can help. So people are very busy and they really don't take time to read or plan. And on page 29, and this is something I really love that I do. And I don't even have it in front of me. Ladies, it's been a crazy night. I'm actually at my sister's doing this. So I'm not as organized as I would like to be. But on page 29, what I like to do is it'll say first thing in the morning, your Spark and Probiotic, or that's the top of page 29. And what I do with each of my clients at that point is I'll say, what time do you get out of bed? And then they would say that, and I will figure out the rest of the day, putting times to that day and having them write the time beside each area of, breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner, when to take, if they've got catalysts, where to write that in. So that tomorrow, the next day when they start, it is ready to go. Again, I talked about the follow-up record. I use the follow-up record. I like to ask lots of questions from that follow-up record. There's questions at the top of that I absolutely love. I love to coach from that. Why do you need certain sleep? Why do you need to not skip meals? Or why, whatever it is, I like to coach and teach from that. With that follow-up record, you can either put it in a 3-ring binder, and you can buy tabs that say 1 through 31, and you can slip it in the next day that you need to call them so that you've got it there. For me, I take a picture of it. I keep the picture on my phone, and I put an alert on my phone for the next time. Very important to follow up once they've started. You want to call them on day 1. Ask them to tell you how they took the product. My husband took all the product day 1. That's the importance of asking why, what did you take today? When did you take it? How did you take it? Asking lots of questions. If they're not a water drinker, you want to know, how did you do with your water today? If they're skipping meals, ask them about skipping meals. Whatever it is that you found out with that follow-up record, you want to make sure that you're asking those questions and encouraging them along the way. Day 3, my big question I like to ask most people, the inflammation from the probiotic, their gut has calmed down. Day 3, they normally feel like they can hold their stomach in a little bit. And then I explain to them the reason that you feel like that is because the inflammation has gone down and you're starting to feel better. Day 7, just following up, asking questions how they're doing. Day 10, I want to ask how they're doing and also go over the M&S again, making sure they know when to take it and how to take it. It's been 10 days and they've learned to do a lot. You would think my kids aren't here, I wouldn't be interrupted, but of course Doug has to come in. Day 11, I like to just literally follow up and make sure that the M&S went okay for that day. Day 17, talk about reordering if they are not on the 180. And day 24, to congratulate them and to see how they are doing. And then most importantly is to mark your calendar for 3 months from the day they started. And that way then you can reach back out if you're not in community, if you haven't heard from them, reach back out and see, are we ready to start this over again? Because we all know every 3 months we are ready to do it again. Good luck. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. All right, Nicole, back to you.
Thanks, Carolyn. Man, you took it all the way down to the last second there. Nice job. So I have the chat group open. So if you have questions for Carolyn, I don't know if we'll have time to answer them tonight, but anyway, you can put your questions there. And then when I repost the replay for this, she can answer those questions in that post. Or if, it's something maybe you think of after this is all done, she said, feel free to like message me, and she'll answer any questions. So I hope you guys took lots of notes. That was really helpful. So one thing I really took away from it is just being organized. And I know Carolyn, she's digitally organized, where I'm pretty like old school, and I like my 3-ring binder, and I've got my tabs, and this is how I keep track. And I will upload the file, the follow-up record, which is a great tool to help you. So just remember, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a person who's on the 24-day jumpstart or who has committed to the 180. Any customer that you have, whether they're just using Spark or, maybe they just want to do the cleanse, it's still imperative that you are connecting with them and following up and just checking in, and you do that periodically. But we're very specific if they are doing a 24-day jumpstart or the whole commit on those specific days that Carolyn mentioned, when you're checking in. And that is the expectation that you have to put out there, that this is what's going to happen. And because you want them to be the most successful. And so we got to keep that gateway of communication open. And so like if you're calling them, they need to respond, or that you have already committed to appointments when you are talking with them, to make the most of your time, because we're also very busy. So thank you, Carolyn, again and again. If you guys have questions, feel free to post them, and she will get back to you. So thank you guys for your time. And so until next month, make sure that you are still following with our first 2 videos, and just staying focused and connecting with people and pushing through that fear. So good night, everybody.